and whatever anyone wants to share. And basically, what do I say? So we're kind of going to do it roughly in the order that people came in. Normally, we do start with a bit of extreme storytelling from me, but because Omar has to go, we're going to have a story from Omar first, and then we're going to have a bit of extreme storytelling. So there we go. Recording is now in progress. So, are you ready for the beginning of your August Tales and Tunes? Can I get a woo from out there? Lovely. All right, let's hand over to Omar because we didn't manage getting him in last time, but we will do now. Omar, let me spotlight you. All right, when you're ready, sir, off you go.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Jamil. Thank you, everybody. I have an African story today. It's very special for you, and it's from this book. And it's a Senegal story. It's from Senegal. And it contains two songs. The first one is in Wolof, the second one is another language, local language in Senegal. I have a bad voice, I cannot sing them, but I will just, you know. All right, so let's tell you a story. Story. Repeat with me. Yes.
Story.
All right. So,
Story.
Story.
Perfect. Okay, so once upon a long time ago, there lived a beautiful girl. She is very gorgeous. And this girl, she lived in a village, in a small village, with her parents, father, mother, sisters, and brothers. She lived in a beautiful way. She had everything that you can imagine in life. Very calm life, very wonderful life. Till one day where there is a sickness came to that village and touched all the people in that village, all of them except this wonderful girl. Her name is Aniko. Aniko, she faced a situation where all the people that she knows, all her family are sick, and she has only one solution, is to face the truth. And the truth is to go outside of that village. And this is what she did. She went and she go outside of that village for a long time, and she walked in the forest. But guess what happened? She remembered the story that all the people in the village repeat all the time, that forest that she went through, Aniko had stories about it, that anyone goes in never return because there is monsters. But if you succeed to go at the other side of that village, you would probably have another life because there's families, there's other tribes, there's other villages outside of that thick forest. One day she decided to go and face that truth, and she went. The first day she went in the village, and the second day and the third day, and she was very scared, but she has a very brave heart, and she said to herself, no, I'm not going to go back to that sickness again. I need to save my skin. I need to do something so that I can save my skin from that sickness, from that illness. The fourth day, she heard something and she get excited. She heard people talking. Then she discovered that there is people right there. She went and she found a beautiful girls playing and wonderful boys playing football there. And then she went and she said, hello, how are you? Nagadef in Wolof, that they say. He said hi, but she discovered something very rare in those people. They have all long necks. And she said, how are you? And she said she is a little bit strange that all the people and all the small kids and the boys and girls have very long necks. Then they saw her and they said to her, you are different from us. Why don't you have a long neck like us? And she said, I don't know, I'm from that village. And she said to them the whole story. And they welcomed her because they are very happy people. They are very good people. They welcomed her and she lived with them happily. But one day she would do the thing that they make them very impressed. In the morning, she wakes up and she sang song, and she said, and this is the song in Wolof. Yesin ilen, yesin alen yen, yeyuna madiman, te yesin alen itam. That means, oh, people wake up, it's time for wake up. And the people heard about that song and said, wow, we have never heard something like this, something beautiful like this song, this voice and intonations of that voice. And she wake up like this and, oh, and you wake up and then discover that Aniko sang for them, but they don't know what is this. And she asked them, they asked her, and she said, what is this, Aniko? What is this? A beautiful thing that you did all in the morning. And she said, it's songs. It's called songs. And this is the art. This is music. One day, there is a man, a very small-hearted man. He went to Aniko and he said, look at me. You are very different from here. If you want to save your skin, you need to go outside of our place and go back from the place that you came from. Do you understand my words? Aniko, very scared, and said, why? You love me and all the people here loved me. And he said to her, no, we have discussed yesterday about you when you went to bed, and we decided to go, and they gave me the word to say that word to you, and they gave me that right to say that these words to you, and you need to go outside of this place and would never come back, because we all have long necks and you are different from us. You are different, and different would lead to a lot of problems in here. She ran poor Aniko till he reached a safe place in the thick forest. The people in that village wake up the first day without Aniko's songs. Some of them said, it's something strange. Why this morning we don't wake up by Aniko's songs? Is she sick or something like this? The second day, the third day, then people asking, and they gathered in a place, and one of them said, I know the story. A very wise man said to them, I heard that man, and he gave him a name, and he said, he talked to Aniko and he said, he wants to he talked to her and she ran because she get afraid. And guess what they did to make Aniko come back? Guess what they did? They did the same thing that Aniko would wake up them with. It's by singing, by music. And they singing and they said, Aniko nisawane, Aniko nisawane, Aniko nisawane. Repeat with me, please. Aniko nisawane. That means, oh, Aniko, dear Aniko, come back, return to this place quickly, return, please. Aniko heard the songs, heard the music, and heard the intonation. And she got very fascinated. Wow, they sing for me. They sing a song for me. They love me. They said, come back to them. And she ran and ran and ran for 3 days till she reached the place in that village. And they take that man outside of their village for the rest of his life, and they punish him. And Aniko lived there, and she did the same thing for a week, for a long time ago. And she sang all the morning for them to make them awake. And she lived there for the rest of her life, and she made a family there, and she lived happily ever after. till the end of her time, and this is the end of her story. This is the end of the story of Aniko from Senegal. Thank you so much for
Oh,
listening.
thank you. That was
Very nice. Very,
beautiful.
very nice.
I love that. You have a great
Nice
voice,
work, Omar.
Omar.
I know.
Yes, you
When,
do.
Thank you so
Your
much.
voice is
Thank
very
you.
nice.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Beautiful.
when
Oh,
you
you're
said you
really
couldn't
welcome.
sing, I thought you meant you sounded like Norman Perrin, but you've got a really nice voice.
Oh, where did Norman
Thank
go?
you.
Gosh. It's
Oh, he's
Norman
not
still
here
here.
anymore. Oh,
Oh, come back, Norman.
back
So
Norman.
thank
Hopefully
you so
he'll
much
join us again.
for listening to my story. I need to go now. Bye.
Oh,
Thank
you're
you so
welcome.
much.
Thank you for coming, Omar.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much. Thank you.
Shukran.
Bye. Thank you, Justin.
Bye. You're
Bye.
welcome. Bye. Oh, that was a beautiful way to start, right? I love
Yes,
that.
very nice.
Okay. But it does mean that it's now time for our bit of extreme storytelling, where we create a story between us to set us off on our journey. So it's kind of weird doing it second, isn't it? But I'm going to do it anyway. I don't care. So I am going to do, as I traditionally do, a bit of extreme storytelling, which means I'm going to create a story for you entirely from your ideas. And those of you that have been here for a while will know that the first thing I need to know is who you would like your story to be about this evening. Who would you like me to tell a tale about? Or who or what? Who knows?
Ooh.
Who will be the
A
hero of our
hangman.
tale? A hangman. Oh, I've been telling hangman stories like actually for a while. I told someone a field to some 10-year-olds and their parents weren't around. And I thought, well, that's probably not appropriate, but I did it anyway. Never mind. It was only when I got to them, and now we do the stabbing thing together. I was like, maybe that's not an action they should be joining in with. Anyway, so a hangman is our first offer. Any other offers who you would like this to be about, or are we happy with a hangman?
Yeah.
Hey, James.
Go with the hangman.
We're happy with the hangman's going to be the hero of our story. And then the next thing we need to decide is who, what does our hangman want more than anything in the world? What is his journey? What does he want out of this? By the end of this tale, what would he like to have? Can be sensible, can be ridiculous. It's entirely up to you.
A wife.
A wife. Oh. Another baby goes,
Hush, Baden.
Hayden's like, that's ridiculous. All right. So the hangman wants a wife. I feel like I know a nursery rhyme about that. And who or what is going to try and stop our poor hangman getting a wife? What do we think?
The ghosts of all the people that he's hanged.
Oh, the ghosts of his people. I wanted to call them victims. It's kind of like his job, but anyway, the ghosts of the people he's hung. That's where we're at tonight, is it? Okay. It reminds. I was telling my impudent cockerel story at Harlequin Fair, and there's a moment when like there's a character, and either she can run away and never be heard and seen again, or she can die. She's not a very nice character, and it was so funny. I was like, life or death, asking the audience, and all of the adults went life, and all of the kids went death. It's like, okay, kids have had enough. They're like, no, bad people need to die. Bless them. All right, so let us begin this tale. Once upon a time, a long time ago, when the punishment of hanging was still in existence, there was a hangman. Because somebody had to do that job. Some poor soul had to have the job of taking the poor souls that people had decided this was their punishment and finishing their lives. And the hangman, well, he liked to do his job well. It's not like it was the happiest job in the world, but he did it well. And the problem was, if you're a hangman, it can be quite a lonely job. There's no one to talk to. Nobody really wants to talk to you. And so every night after his job, he would go home to his little cottage. He would be all by himself. And he thought, it would be so nice if there was someone to share this life with. So much of my job is such a sad thing. I would like someone to have some happiness with. He thought, I would really like to have someone to share my life with. A wife like other men have. Now, if you were a hangman and you had no friends to speak of, but you really wanted a wife, where is the first place you would go? Where would you look? Who would you ask? Where's the first step on our journey?
Lincolnshire.
Lincolnshire. Of course you would go to Lincolnshire because that's where the wives live. So he thought, I know Lincolnshire has been told to me is the friendliest county in the whole of England. Surely I will find a wife there. So he set out from where he was. Actually, we don't even know where he was. Where was this hangman? Where's he going? Where's he going to Lincolnshire from?
Norfolk.
Norfolk. Okay, fair enough. Voices from off. So he sets off from Norfolk all the way to Lincolnshire. It's like a couple of counties over, I think. I'm trying to, my English geography is terrible. Anyway, so he walks and 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 he walks because he was a hangman, didn't have a lot of money for anything else. He walks and he walks and he walks until he came to the county of Lincolnshire, and he saw the beautiful fields in front of him. He saw all the workers working in the fields. And he went up to the first worker who was like gathering in the harvest, and he said, I've come to Lincolnshire to look for a wife. I hear it is the friendliest county in all of the counties. And I wondered if you could direct me where I might meet someone friendly enough that I could get to know and would maybe be my wife. So, and Keith would have to defer to you since you know Lincolnshire better than any of us. Where in Lincolnshire would be the place to go and look for a wife?
Go into Lincoln and go to Lincoln Castle. There's lots of people there that visit there, and you might find
Lovely.
a young lady there that's on part of the staff. So
Fabulous.
Lincoln
That sounds-
Castle.
Lincoln Castle. So the farm worker said to him, like in the shape of Keith, said to the hangman, you need to go to Lincoln Castle, because in Lincoln Castle, people visit from all over the land and they have this best parties. If you can get yourself to one of the parties they're having, you will meet lots and lots and lots of people. So he set off through the fields. He went until he found the city of Lincoln. Town of Lincoln? I feel like it should be a city, but it's probably a town, isn't it? So the town of Lincoln. He went up to Lincoln Castle and he found like the servants' entrance, and he knocked on the door. Now you know what to do, gentlemen. If you've got something to knock on, now's your time to knock on it. Here we go. And the door was opened by the head of all the servants of the castle. He said, "Yes, can I help you?" He said, "I'm terribly sorry to bother you. I'm visiting from Norfolk, and I was wondering, I'm looking to meet somebody. And I understand that you have fabulous parties. I'm a very hard worker. I can do anything you like, and meet kind of people at the party." And the head of the servants said, "Well, actually, it just so happens I am down a server. So maybe if you could help out with the party tonight, and then you could get to know people. We are very, very friendly here in the castle." So the hangman, not having told anyone at this point that he was in fact a hangman, he went in and he was given a job in the kitchens, and the party started upstairs, and he started kind of serving food to everybody. And it wasn't long before, when he came down with one empty tray, he happened to just bump into a serving girl coming the other way. And when he saw her and he saw her beautiful smile, he thought, perhaps this is the one that can be my wife. And he said, "Oh, I'm so sorry to bump into you. Can I help you?" And she said, "Oh, no, it's fine. I'll be down shortly. You're new here, aren't you?" And he said, yes, just helping out for tonight. Perhaps you can tell me more about the place." So as the party carried on and all the food had been served, the hangman and the serving girl sat down in the kitchen together. And she told him all about how wonderful Lincoln was and how beautiful and friendly all the people in Lincolnshire were. And he thought, maybe I could ask her to perhaps walk with me, come for a walk with me, like in the beautiful Lincolnshire countryside. And those words were just about to come out of his mouth when he heard from the castle walls a wooing. Not like a wooing like you're wooing someone, but like a wooing, like a ghost wooing. So can I have some big woos from everybody? Ready? That's just slightly terrifying. Let's see. And there was some rattling of chains. You ready? Rattle, 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 rattle. The serving girl went, "What on earth's that noise?" And the hangman said, "Oh, I don't know what that could possibly be. I'll just go outside and see." And he stepped outside of the servants' door that he came in, and he looked, and there was a throng of ghosts in front of him. And when he looked in their faces, he could see that these were all the people whose lives he had ended over the years. And they said to him, "Oh, hangman, you cannot have happiness when you cause misery to so many of us." And the hangman said, "But I was just doing my job. I didn't make the decisions." They said, "Yes, but you ended it, and therefore your life is destined to be miserable." And the hangman said, "Well, surely, is there nothing I can do for you so I can at least just go on a date with this girl?" And what did the ghosts say, gentlemen? Was there a price? They said, no, you may not be happy. So the hangman knew he was going to have to find a way around this. Now, if you were the hangman and you were stopping even being asked, like even asking a girl out on a date by a huge throng of ghosts, what would you try first? How is he going to get around this? What do we think?
Holy water, Batman.
He said to the serving girl, he said, if you just wait there, like maybe an hour or two, I will be back. And he set out, as anyone would, to the local church. Is there a cathedral in Lincoln, King?
Yes, just opposite the castle. There's a sort of
Perfect. I'm so glad you're here for information.
Section. Then there's the cathedral.
Lovely. So the hangman said to the serving girl, just wait there. I'm just going to pop over the road to the cathedral. I just need to, just cleanse myself, say a prayer or two. So he went into the cathedral and he found the nearest clergyman. And he said, I'm having trouble with some ghosts and they keep following me around. I'm wondering if I could borrow some holy water. And the clergyman said, of course, not a problem at all. And gave him a little bottle with holy water in it. And he took the holy water and he went back, and sure enough, still outside the castle, this huge throng of ghosts. And he said, I have come to banish you with this holy water. And he tried throwing it and he got the first 5 ghosts, but there was a whole load of ghosts behind him that just stepped forward into his place. He said, oh no, this is not going to work. There's not enough holy water in the whole cathedral to get rid of this throng of people that I have killed over the years. Thought they must try something else. So if the holy water didn't work, what shall we try for our second attempt at ridding ourselves of these ghosts?
Salt.
Salt. So I know if the kind of Christian thing hasn't worked, I'm going to go down the pagan thing. So he went and he got a whole load of salt for the kitchen. He said to the serving girl, just wait there a minute. I'm just dealing with this out here. So he went outside and he started doing a salt circle all the way around the ghosts. The trouble was there were an awful lot of ghosts and there was no way he was going to be able to do it in time. And they just kept floating around because ghosts do. So he thought, look, there's not enough salt in the world to go around all of the ghosts. All of them. He had one more attempt. He knew, because it's a story and it has to go in threes. He knew that there was just one last thing, one last attempt to try and rid himself of these ghosts so he could ask the girl out on a date. Gentlemen, can we help our hangman? What will definitely work? Bader looks like he's got a sneaky idea.
No, I think David's got something up his sleeve.
Okay, let's hear it.
He lowers his breeches and moons them.
Oh.
Because it's that kind of night. So this is what he did. He said, ghosts, if you are out here at night just to see the moon, then I will show you a moon. And that's exactly what he did. He turned round, he lowered his trousers, he flashed his bottom at all of the ghosts. And the ghosts went, no, that's disgusting. That's the worst thing I've seen. And they ran back off from whence they came. Which meant our hangman could go back into the serving girl who had been waiting very patiently all this time. And he said, I just had to deal with something in the moonlight, but I think it's done with now. And so he said to the serving girl, I wonder if tomorrow you would come for a walk with me in the fine Lincolnshire countryside. And the serving girl said that she would. And they went for a walk the very next day. And he told her everything, even the story of how he mooned the ghosts. And she laughed so hard that they became firm friends. And eventually they fell in love. And eventually they got married. And eventually they lived happily ever after. The end. Thank you for that fine ending to that story, David. Love that. I like that story. I might tell that one again. Okay. Let's pass it. So we're going to go, so we've had Omar. So we're going to go to David. David, you're in first. David, are you happy to go next?
Oh, sure. Why not? Yeah. Here we
let
go.
me spotlight you so I can see you. Cool.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
I will be telling you, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. I didn't know. I will be telling a tale from the Aztec Empire. You know the Aztecs, the predecessors and ancestors of many of the Native American peoples.
Mm.
And this is the story of Quetzalcoatl, the plumed serpent,
Mm.
and the morning star. But first, let me greet you. Nilsi Tatli, Nilsi Datli, ma kualitalalaka nik nosanasil. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome to my story. This is the plumed serpent and the morning star. When Quetzalcoatl came down to earth, and he saw the people all around digging in the dirt with their hands, he said, I must teach them. And so he did. He taught them how to farm. He taught them how to raise maize. He taught them the calendar and the solar year. He taught them math. He taught them many things and laws. He taught them medicines and herbs. He taught them how to weave gold and silver strands. And soon the people were very, very, very happy. And they built the great city of Tulan, the city of gold. And in the middle of the city of gold was the palace of Quetzalcoatl, the plumed serpent, who became high priest and king of his people. And all was going well. Everyone was happy. And in the middle of the city of Tulan, the golden city with canals and marketplaces, the golden city that had children running and playing, in the middle was the great mound where the palace of Coatl was. And that had the four walls. The east was made of gold. The west was green of turquoise and jade. The south was white with pearls and silver. And the north was red with bloodstones and shells. And all were happy in the city of Tulan, for Quetzalcoatl, high priest and king of his people, the plumed serpent, was just and was very well loved. One day, though, Quetzalcoatl, he of the smoking mirror, appeared at the gates. He pounded on the gates, and the guard came and says, Tezcatlipoca, he of the smoking mirror, what is it that you wish? And Tezcatlipoca said, I wish to speak to your master, Quetzalcoatl, plumed serpent and king and high priest of the people of Tulan. I will go and tell them that you are here. And he did. And he was sent back. My master will agree to see you. So Tezcatlipoca, he of the smoking mirror, approached Quetzalcoatl, plumed serpent, high priest and king of his people. And Quetzalcoatl said, what do you wish? What do you wish? Why are you here? And Tezcatlipoca, he of the smoking mirror, said, we are here. I am here. You are here. I am here to show you your future. And holding up the smoking mirror of smoky quartz, Tezcatlipoca said, look into this and you will see your future. Quetzalcoatl, high priest and king of his people, the plumed serpent, recoiled from what he saw, for it was an old, wrinkled man. And he had, oh no, this is not me. And Tezcatlipoca, he of the smoking mirror, said, yes, for you are now old. You are now wrinkled, and you are now no longer fit to be the king of Tulan, the golden city. Quetzalcoatl, he raped and wept and melled and mooed and cried. And Tezcatlipoca said, wait, here, drink this. And reaching into his garment, Tezcatlipoca, he of the smoking mirror, reached and gave a cup. And that cup was Quechua, the great fermented corn. But Tezcatlipoca had put in the magic amanita, the mushroom of the gods. Tezcatlipoca waited and watched. Quetzalcoatl took it. He said, no, taste it. Taste it, O plumed serpent. taste it and see how good it is. Quetzalcoatl dipped his finger. Oh, oh yes, and he drank it all in one swallow. But the goddess Amanita of the magic mushroom entered into Quetzalcoatl's brain and showed him colors and heard sounds, and he saw the universe and he saw the gods, and oh, he was beyond belief and beyond joy. And he called to his sister, Quetzalcoatl, come, you must taste this. It's just incredible. You must taste. And she did. What she licked the bowl, and they both communed with the gods. They both communed with the universe and the stars and the sun and the moon, and they heard the divine music, and they heard each other, and they held each other. Tezcatlipoca, he of the smoking mirror, left. In the morning, when Quetzalcoatl, high priest and king of his people, the plumed serpent, awoke and saw what he had done with his sister, he was so mortified and ashamed. He sent her away, and he told his servants, build me a cave that I may go into and do penance for what I have done. And so they did. And Quetzalcoatl, plumed serpent, high priest and king of his people, entered into the cave, and he was shut in for 4 days. After the 4th day, it was open. Quetzalcoatl, plumed serpent, high priest and king of his people, appeared and says, I can no longer be your ruler. You must have a new ruler. I must go. I must go. I must go east to Tlapalan, the land of the red delight. And so it was. Quetzalcoatl, plumed serpent, no longer high priest and king of his people, took his retinue with him. There were flutists, and there were dancers, and there were warriors to escort him on his way. And so they left. They left Tulan, the golden city of the people, and they went east towards Tlapalan. Ah, here we go. And they went and they stopped. And they stopped, and Quetzalcoatl saw a tree. And this tree was an old tree, all barks and wrinkles. And he went and he touched it and said, old friend, I am as wrinkled as you are. And his tears went down the wrinkles. And that place became known as Huehuecoatitlan, the tree of old age. And after rest, the retinue with Quetzalcoatl, plumed serpent, no longer king and high priest of his people, continued their eastward time. And it came to the point where they had to rest, and Quetzalcoatl, plumed serpent, turned, and he saw in the distance, he saw his beloved city. And he sat down, and he was so upset. He grabbed the stones, and they became marked with his hands. And it was called Temacocupletec, mark of the hands. And after resting, they continued their eastward journey towards Tlapalan, land of the red delight. And they came upon a place where the gods, different gods, approached them and says, give us, why are you here? Give us your gifts. Teach us what you have taught your people. Quetzalcoatl, plumed serpent, taught these people how to grow food, taught them how to weave feathers, how to weave gold. He taught them the calendar. And then, reaching around, he pulled off his collar of gemstones and said, I will no longer be needing this, and tossed them into the stream next to them. And that stream became known as Cuscaapa, waters of the precious stones. And the gods of that place let them pass, for they saw that he was going to Tlapalan, the land of red delight. And so they journeyed, and they journeyed until they came to an area, a city that was so quiet, nothing moved, there was no noise. And Quetzalcoatl, plumed serpent, said, I pronounce this city Cochtan, the city of sleepers. And they were not bothered at all by anyone as they passed through. And they continued their journey towards Tlapalan, the land of the red delight. And they came upon Mount Payacuatitl, the hill of many colors. And on one side, it was all ice, and on the other side, it was all fire and volcano. And it erupted, and it came sliding down the ice, and came moving down the magma, and it killed everyone except Quetzalcoatl, plumed serpent, no longer king and high priest of the beautiful city of Tulan. And he looked back and he saw the bodies of his retinue. He saw them lying, and great tears came down, for he had lost his people once again. But he knew that on the other side of the mount of the hill of many colors lay the ocean, which would take him to the Tlapalan, the land of red delight. And so he climbed and he climbed and he climbed and he climbed, and he got to the top, and there in front of him was the vast ocean. And he went down the side and came to the beach, to the shore. How was he to leave? How was he get to Tlapalan? Then Quetzalcoatl, plumed serpent, summoned all the serpents in the area, and they all appeared, and they bowed to him, and he bowed to them, and they wove themselves into a raft, and Quetzalcoatl, plumed serpent, stepped on, and they all started floating towards the east, floating towards Tlapalan, land of the red delight. And when they arrived, Quetzalcoatl, plumed serpent, stepped off of the raft of serpents. They unwove themselves and stood in front of him. And he bowed to them, and they bowed to him. And they left. And there it was, on a hill. He climbed, and he knew he had to sacrifice himself. So he got many branches and many shrubs, and he built it up, and he lay down and created fire. However, Quetzalcoatl, plumed serpent, his heart began to beat, and burst forth from his body and rose into the sky, escorted by the beautiful Quetzal birds, only to become Venus, the morning star, she who leads the sun from his home. Now some say Quetzalcoatl, plumed serpent, became ash, but others say Quetzalcoatl, plumed serpent, will return, this once and future king. He will return someday, one day. Tecumate, thank you.
Thank you so much, David. I love that story. It's so like sad and epic, and just it's lovely to hear it.
I got it from this book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Tales of the Plumed Serpent.
It's fabulous. I think last time I heard it was like someone, it was a show in Romania, someone was telling it like
Or anyway.
long time ago. That was fabulous. Okay. I've forgotten how to remove spotlights. My Zoom is doing weird things.
Well, it's
So I don't
no longer spotlit.
Is it not? Then it's just my view thing is very weird.
Oh, we
I
have to
don't know
behave.
what's going on with my things. So there we
We
go.
have
I
to
can see
behave.
everybody now.
Baba C is here.
Yeah, I saw. Snuck
Can
in
you-
there.
Hi there,
Hello.
everyone. Can you see my face?
We
and-
can't
and
see your
Norman's
face,
here.
We
Norman.
No.
can't see you,
We can
Norman,
just-
but we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear
Okay.
you.
I don't know. Okay, this is serious because I'm supposed to have an online interview at 4 o'clock.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
And I've got, after this. What time is it right now? For me, it's 1:45. I'm sorry
Okay.
to interrupt the proceedings. I have to winkle something out here. Why can't I see the picture?
I don't know. Like, is your so your camera is, it says it's like
My camera
on.
shows the light is on.
Okay.
The
So-
but and then you just highlighted it.
yeah.
But why my camera is not transmitting a picture, I don't know.
You
Me
probably
neither.
have to turn it on and turn it off again, or you may
Prob-
need to start your laptop.
I'll have to what my laptop?
Restart.
Okay, I'm gonna try that, and
Okay.
I will do that and let
And
the
Norman,
proceedings continue.
and Norman,
Yes, sir.
it's not 1:45, it's 2:45. You are now in the same time zone.
I
Well,
hate
that's
to-
just confused everybody.
I've just confused everybody, and myself included. Okay, then we'll let the storytelling continue. I will fiddle a little bit and I'll stop.
Okay.
This is all being recorded, so I really want to stop this. But
While
All right.
Norman is fiddling,
Well-
I'm going to remind everybody that I am now officially 73 years old as of Monday, and I'm still celebrating.
You just a
Happy
youngin', dude.
birthday.
You just a
Happy
youngin'. I turned
birthday.
75 2 months ago. So hey,
Wow.
Hey, all right.
you whippersnapper.
Yeah, I snapper. I don't like whips. But anyhow, no.
Happy birthday, Babasi. You're
Thank
super
you.
welcome here. So I'm kind of going around people in the order that they came in. So that makes Keith is next. Keith, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Yeah.
Lovely. I shall spotlight you and then you can remove the spotlight. for
Yes,
yourself.
I'll remove
There you
it.
go.
I'll go back to gallery. Right. Okay.
Fabulous.
Well, it's harvest time in Lincolnshire, and just next door, just across the road next door, they're busy combining, and so they're creating a lot of noise and a lot of dust, and there's tractors going up and down with with carts that are leading away the corn. But this is a story that involves harvest, but it's the time when they didn't harvest with machinery, but they harvest and cut the corn with scythes. And so they do it by hand. Well, there was once a farmer, and he had a wife and children, and he had quite a bit of land, and he was making a good living, growing different things. But then he said to his wife one day, well, we just need more land because we've got another child on the way, and we just need more land to grow more crops, and so we can make a living better and feed ourselves. And he was in his field one day, and he looked down on the valley next to the beck, and he saw this field, which was just growing weeds. It was just full of rubbish. And thought, oh, whoever farms that, whoever owns that is a lazy person. And he found out that that piece of land was coming up for sale. And so he went to the town, and there was an auction, and this piece of land came up for sale. And he put in a very low bid, really. He didn't expect to get it at that price, but to his astonishment, it was knocked down to him. And so he had this extra field. And he went home and told his wife, and said, oh, this is great. We could be able to grow more crops there and feed ourselves better. And so he set to and he cleared all the weeds off that field. And he dug ditches because it's all wet. And the back at the bottom, he just did ditches so that it drained the soil. And he'd finished his work, and he was just admiring his work with his hand on his spade. And he became aware that there was something or someone just beside him. And he looked down, and there was a boggart. And boggarts are about 4 foot high, a pear-shaped body covered with hair, and long spindly legs and arms that reach down to the ground. They're quite strong in themselves, but and a head like a cow's head, and horns and big long pointed ears. And the boggart said, "What are you doing here?" I said, the farmer said, "Well, I bought this land and I've dug the trenches to drain it, and so I can grow more crops." "Well, this is not your field; it's my field. I've been here for hundreds of years. Get off." "No," said the farmer, it is my field. I bought it. Perhaps we should go to the courts and to the judge and find out legally who owns it." "I don't do that. I don't do that. No, because it wasn't very intelligent, this boggart. And so the boggart said, "Well, you grow a crop, and we'll share what's produced." And the farmer said, "Well, would you like what's below the ground or what's above the ground?" "Oh, I want what's above the ground." And so they agreed. And the boggart went off and went to, in that night, he'll go there, does what he normally does, and let's go around frightening all the people in the village and rattling the windows and knocking on the doors and running away, just frightening people. And so the farmer went back to his wife and said what had happened, and she said, "Well, what you got to grow?" He said, "I'm going to plant some tatties, some tats." And the boggart's then welcome to all the tatty arms. And that's what he did. Planted the potatoes, a good crop. And he harvested all the potatoes and all the leaves from the tops, and the tatty arms were left. And when the boggart came up to claim his part of the harvest, what grew above the ground, he was so angry. He was so angry because he'd been tricked. And the boggart said, "Well, look, next year you grow another crop, and I'll have what grows below the ground." And the farmer agreed. And the boggart went off, frightening people as he did that night, as he normally did. It's his job. And the farmer went back to his wife, and she said, "What you got to plant?" He said, "I'm going to sow some wheat." And the boggart's welcome to whatever's under the ground. And so he did that. Sowed the wheat, had a good big crop, and he harvested it with his scythe, and he packed all the corn on the top of a cart, and the boggart came for his half of the harvest and said, no. He's realised he'd been tricked again, because all that was left was just the little roots of the wheat. And so the boggart suggested, "Well, look, you sow some wheat this next year, this next harvest, and I will start one side of the field, you start the other side of the field with a scythe, and we'll work our way across it, and then we'll just see how much we can get. We'll get something each. Some might get more than the other." And so it was agreed, and the boggart went off into the village, frightening people as he did. And the farmer, he thought, "Well, what can I do about this?" And he went to see his friend in the village, a wise man. And he was very impressed that the farmer had tricked this boggart, and he suggested, "Well, look, this is what you do. Go to the blacksmith and buy some short iron rods, perhaps about maybe a foot, 18 inches high. And then just before harvest, go into the boggart side of the field and hammer down all of those rods on the boggart side of the field." And the farmer did that. He bought some rods just before harvest. He put all these rods in the part of the field that the boggart was going to scythe. And it came to harvest time. And there the farmer was with his scythe, and he sharpened it. And the boggart was there with his scythe, and he sharpened it. Although the boggart was quite small, only 5 foot high, he was actually quite strong in the arm. And so they started to scythe on each side of the field. And the farmer was getting on really well. He kept scything all this corn down. But of course, the boggart, when he swung his scythe, it kept hitting all these iron rods and blunting his scythe. Oh, and he screamed and said, this farming life's too difficult. And he threw down his scythe and he went off in a temper, using words that I daren't repeat here in this company. And then the farmer, he was able to have that big crop. He had all the rest of the crop, and he never saw the boggart again. And that's the story of the farmer and the boggart.
Yay! Thank you, Keith. That was awesome. I can't remember. It's a long time since I've heard loads of stories tonight. That I'm like, these I haven't heard for ages, and I love them so much. That's awesome. Love it. And I also just love the idea of a boggart. It's just such a good word and a good image. It's fabulous. Lovely. Next up, because we very rarely have tunes, I have strong-armed my son to come and sing us a song. So that's kind of, so hopefully you can hear me because I've got original sound for musicians on. So I'm going to move slightly this way, and James is just going to appear like on screen. Are you ready? And I'm hoping we can fit a guitar and me.
Yeah.
And James. There we go. Oh God. I've already smacked the ceiling. That's not good stuff.
Yeah.
There we go. Can you see us and can you hear us? There we go. Good.
So you can see and hear.
Definitely.
Cool. And can you hear the guitar?
Yes.
Yes.
Lovely. Okay.
There you go.
There we go. So this is
Yeah.
James,
Oh.
my son. We've just come back from
Hi,
a festival.
James.
We were at Harlequin Festival, and we did a show that we call the J Family Show, which is basically everyone in my family. So my son, my eldest son, and my younger daughter, all just doing the things that we do. And this was one of the things that James does. Some of you already know James as a fabulous poet, but turns out he can sing as well. Do you want to introduce your song?
Sure. I'm doing "Colours of the Wind" from Pocahontas. I'll do my best, as I do sing lessons at school, but I have been somewhat out of practice. But I like the song, so yeah, I'll do it.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah. You think you own whatever land you land on. The earth is just a dead thing you can claim. But I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name. You think the only people who are people are the people who look and think like you. But if you walk the footsteps of a stranger, you'll learn things you'll never knew. Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon? Or ask the grinning bobcat why he grins? Can you sing with all the voices of the mountains? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Come run the hidden pine trails of the forest. Come taste the sun-sweet berries of the earth. Come roll in all the riches all around you. And for once, never wonder what they're worth. The river and the rainstorm are my brothers. The heaven and the altar are my friends. And we all are connected to each other. In a hoop, in a circle that never ends. How high does a sycamore grow? If you cut it down, then you'll never know. And you'll never hear the wolf cry to the blue corn moon. For whether we are white or copper skinned, we need to sing with all the voices of the mountains. Need to paint with all the colors of the wind. You can own the earth and still all you'll own is earth until you can paint with all the colors of the wind.
Bravo, bravo.
Wow.
Well
Wow, wow,
Thank
wow.
you. Didn't he do well?
Yes.
There you go. I'm going to
Yes,
pass you that
good.
over, James. Thank
Oh
you
my
so
God.
much.
How old is that boy, Justine?
He is now, how old are you now? 15? He's now 15.
Jesus Christ.
Just
Whoa.
turned 50. He's going to go back and listen to the other things. So, yeah.
Wow.
You remember when he was very little and doing kind of his poetry and stuff. So he's,
Oh,
but he
yeah.
did do his
It's-
poems at the festival as well. So well
Oh.
done. He will be listening in
Well
when he
done.
gets back onto his other computer. So,
better and better and better. Wow.
yeah.
Is there no end to his talents?
Apparently not. It was, do you
Well,
know
it appears
what?
so.
Our J Family show was so much fun. So those of you who don't know, my daughter is non-speaking, so we had her, like, she was playing her tongue drum, so she did her bit. Sam did To Be or Not to Be, like did Shakespeare in the middle of a festival field, you know. So yeah, it was, and actually sort of Jess accompanied like the soliloquy with her tongue drum. It was an amazing thing. And he
Amazing.
did great stuff. It was so much fun. So now we've done that, we're like, might do it everywhere. Thank you so much. Thank you, James, who'll be back online in a minute. So next up, Baden, you were next in, which means you are next up. Are you ready, sir?
Hey.
Hey,
So
babe,
I've
when you
got-
tell your story,
I've-
could you mute yourself?
Hey, Baba C, what does it feel like to be 105 and still above ground?
It feels good. It feels good.
I
Really.
should hope so.
Oh, yeah. And someone told me they had a gift for you, but they were going to wait to give it to you on Christmas. I think he said the gift was talent, but we can have that conversation later. Anyone
Harsh,
tuning in,
Baba
Bade and I go back and forth like this, but we love each other dearly. That's what they pay us to say.
If it weren't for me, this man would not be known to the wider world of storytelling. I'll never forget
That's
it.
true. That's true.
Anyway,
And let's hang on, let's just go back one. If it weren't for me,
well, Justine, you know, I give credit where credit is due, and everybody
you
knows
always
that.
do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Does that mean I'm responsible for Baba C, Baden? Please don't say
Well,
that.
indirectly, yeah.
Apologies.
Okay. So
Go ahead.
this story is one of a couple of stories about the fox and the hedgehog, and I've come across it because I know these two lovely people, Wendy and Mel. Mel's a musician who, if it's got strings, he can play, and we met them at New Forest Festival. And Wendy's got a thing for wildlife, and she puts food out in their garden. And she said one night she put out some food for a hedgehog, and this fox came in and was eating it all. And she was like, "Oh no!" And then this hedgehog came rumbling along, and the fox actually started pushing some of the food with the hedgehog, which she said was just an amazing thing to see. And then she said, "You're going to have to tell me a fox and hedgehog story, or write one." And I've come up with not one, but two. So I'm going to tell one of them tonight. I'm going to talk to them tomorrow evening with a bit of luck. So that's the first she's going to hear, her fox and hedgehog stories. And I'm going to try one of them out with you tonight. So Fox is, he's a bit of a braggadocious and boastful guy. You know, he's a bit full of himself, and he's bouncing along the road one day, and he meets Hedgehog coming the other way, and he says, "Hedgehog, how many brains have you got?" And Hedgehog's a bit flummoxed. He's like, "What?" "Well, you know, one, of course, like everybody else." "Why? How many have you got?" And Fox says, I've got 7. 1 for every day of the week. That's how clever I am. That means I'm actually 7 times more clever than you. And he goes on like this for a bit. And Hedgehog's like, oh, this guy. So he decides he's going to teach Fox a lesson. And he says to Fox, you're telling me this, but I don't really believe you. And Fox said, what do you mean you don't believe me? And Hedgehog says, well, for you to convince me that it's true, we're going to have to go to, the sacred place. That sacred rock down the road just in front of the cathedral? Well, let's go down there, yeah? And you put your hand on that sacred rock and you swear that what you've just told me is true. And then I'll believe you. But otherwise, I think you're just talking out of your cloaca. So, of course, this kind of knocks Fox down a peg or two, and he's not standing for it. He says, come on then. And off we go. So off they go to the rock. Now, what Fox doesn't know, and Hedgehog does, is that a hunter has actually placed a trap strategically near the rock. And he leads Fox up to it, and of course the inevitable happens. Fox steps in the trap, blam, and he's caught. And he's like, get me out of here, get me out of here. Hedgehog, help me. And Hedgehog says, help you? How can I help you with my one poor little brain? Come on, you've got 7 brains. Which one are you wearing today? Use your brain, you get yourself out of it. But Fox is screaming and bawling, and he's picturing the hunter coming along and catching him and cutting off his tail for a trophy. And he begs and he begs and he begs, and he's like, no, Hedgehog, you got to help me. You got to get me out of here. And he keeps on begging and begging, and finally, Hedgehog says, okay, I'll help you. Now here's what I'm gonna do. When the hunter comes along, you just lie there and pretend like you're dead. Don't move. Just, don't breathe. Don't do anything. Just lie absolutely still. So he'll think he's got you. He'll think you're dead. He won't know how long you've been dead. So you might have started to rot. So he's not going to want to have anything to do with you. He's just going to open his trap, take it, and go and reset it somewhere else. And then when he's gone, you can clear off. And that's exactly what happens. Along comes the farmer and he goes, there's a farm. Wonder how long it's been. Smells a bit gamey. Nah, I don't want that in my house. So he opens the trap, takes it, and off he goes to go and reset it somewhere else. And that's how Fox escapes. And out of gratitude, because he's so glad that he's made a friend in Hedgehog, that thereafter, every night, when Fox goes into the garden where the kind couple have laid out a buffet for him, now he doesn't just eat it all for himself. He invites his new friend Hedgehog to come along with him and share in this bountiful feast. And that's story number 2 of the Fox and the Hedgehog. Thank you.
That was wonderful, wonderful,
Oh,
wonderful.
it's lovely. I love it. Oh, love kind of little creature things anyway. Oh, it's fabulous. Thank you, Baden. That was great.
James has his hair. Oh no, he's never mind.
James is clapping.
Yeah, I don't have my glasses on, so
No, I have to peer. Like, I'm the same. I don't even have my glasses nearby, so if anything's too small, there's not hope. Okay, so in order of people coming in, I have Norman next and then Baba C. Is that okay? So Norman, are you okay to go next?
Yeah, I'm good. And I
Awesome.
seem to have sorted out my my problems. So I wasn't too sure what stories to tell, but when the just last one about, I've already told this one just recently, so I'm not tell it again, but it's about a fellow who had 1,000 tricks, and Rabbit and the Crane just had one, but it was enough. Because you only need one trick to get out of the situation. But this one, I rather like this story because it's traveled around the world, and because good stories have a free ticket to travel. Like, I mean, they go up, they go down, they go underground, they go out. And in this particular story is since I learned it as Brer Rabbit, that's where I call it. So the way the title is comfortable in my mouth. So Brer Rabbit was full of himself, very full of himself, and he tricked Brer Fox many times, not once, not twice, but a dozen times, because he had so many brains. As the story said, he had brains for every day of the week, and if he could invent more days of the week, he had more brains. So one day he was just walking along, enjoying himself, thinking about just how he had calling out to the world just how many times he had tricked Brer Fox. And Brer Fox, he'd had enough of it. And he was thinking to himself, if there's one thing I'm going to do today, not Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, today, I'm going to trick that rabbit. So he says, and so Brer Fox went off to a nice quiet spot, and he settled himself. He had himself a nice meal, and he had a cup of tea. He thinks well. Believe it or not, little known fact, he thinks well when he had a cup of tea. And so he thought and he thought and he thought, and he got an idea. And he says, I know what Brer Rabbit's weakness is. He's proud of himself. He's proud of his brains. He's proud of, and I'm going to turn those brains against him. He says he thinks he's brains and he's polite and everything. I'm going to use that to trick Brer Rabbit. And so he went and he got to a pine tree. He scraped all the sap of the pine tree, and he made up a pine pitch man. Just, and then put it by the place where Brer Rabbit went traveling along every day. And then he waited behind a bush and waited to happen. Along come Brer Rabbit. Oh, good morning, stranger. But he didn't hear anything because the stranger, of course, couldn't speak. And Brer Rabbit was a little taken back by this. He stopped and he looked at the stranger and he says, look, I can see that you're a stranger, and so maybe you don't know what people are like around this parts, but people are polite. And I'm one of the most polite people around. And therefore, when you are greeted, you have to say hello back. So I'm going to give you a second chance and say, when I say good morning, stranger, you say goodbye back. And says, so he says, good morning, stranger. Good morning. Did the pine pitch man say anything? No, he couldn't speak anything. So not a single word. And Brer Rabbit says, well, obviously then, if you're that ignorant, I'm going to have to teach you a lesson. And I'm going to teach you a lesson by slapping you upside the face with my paw. Now I'm going to give you another chance. 1, 2, 3. Good morning, stranger. But stranger didn't say anything. So up went the paw and stuck to the pine pitch man. Oh. Brer Rabbit looked at his pine pitch man. He says, let go of my paw, or I'm going to hit you again. Did the pine pitch man let him go? No, he didn't. And up went the second paw. And he stuck. Pine pitch man held both paws. And Brer Rabbit says, no, you let go of my paws, or I'm going to kick you with my feet. He says, but the pine pitch man didn't say anything. And so up went both legs. Boom! Brer Rabbit was stuck by second paw and both legs. And Brer Rabbit looked that pine pitch man right in the eye. He says, look, Let go of my paws. Let go of my feet, or I'm going to headbutt you. Did the Pine Pitch Man let him go? No, he did not. Because, well, he's the Pine Pitch Man. And so up went Brer Rabbit, back went his head, both legs, and wham! Right between the eyes. He'd seen this kind of wrestling move. Head button. Went Brer Rabbit, because he couldn't say anything now. He was stuck to the Pine Pitch Man. And while he was making all that hooling and hollering, out from behind that bush, Brer Fox, grinning from ear to ear, as wide a grin as he had ever had in his life. In fact, in some ways, he's still grinning from that time. He says, well, Brer Rabbit, you've tricked me once. You tricked me twice. You tricked me 1,000 times. But now I've tricked you, and I've got you, Brer Rabbit. And so Brer Fox reached over, grabbed over Brer Rabbit by both of his long ears and went, oh. This is the part that bugs me. It just makes me feel painful. But all that time where Brer Fox was saying, I've got you, Brer Rabbit had been thinking. He was thinking because his tail is going, and that means Brer Rabbit is thinking. He's thinking as harder than he ever thought before. And so when Brer Fox pulled him back, instead of saying, oh, Brer Fox, let me go, he heard, oh, Brer Fox. Brer Fox, well, thank for freeing me from that from that Pine Pitch Man. And Brer Fox said, well, yes, but you're not going to thank me because I am going to have you up for breakfast. And no, I have a real problem because I've caught you now. But what am I going to do? How am I going to cook you? I'm going to fry you. I'm going to dice you. I'm going to boil you. Am I going to use how many peppers to mix? Brer Rabbit, you're going to be the best meal I ever had. And Brer Rabbit says, oh, Brer Fox, well, you're going to make whatever meal you want. You can boil me, dice me, fry me, whatever you want. I don't mind any of that. But you know what? Don't throw me over in that thorn bush, that briar bush, because why? Said Brer Fox. Because I hate thorn bushes. And my mother and my father and my great parents and my great, as far as you go back, have always been afraid of these thorn bushes. And so don't throw me in that. You can do me whatever you want, but don't do that. Well, Brer Fox says, well, that's what bugs you most of all, Brer Rabbit. I'm going to do just that because, look, I'm going to have my revenge. Maybe I will get something to eat, but I'm going to listen to you suffer. And so he grabbed him by the long ears, around and around and around, and shh. And Brer Rabbit went flying through the air right into a very convenient thorn bush. Convenient for this story, that is. And Brer Rabbit just landed in the middle of that thorn bush. And Brer Fox leaned over to listen to Brer Rabbit screaming in pain. But instead of pain, he heard laughter. Laughter. He says, oh, Brer Fox, don't you know? Don't you know that I was born in a thorn bush? My father, my grandmother, and my great-grandparents, my great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-parents we were born and raised in a thorn bush, because that is where we are safe. And that is where I'm going to stay. And Brer Fox, once again, had been tricked by Brer Rabbit, and so he had to go hungry. And so, and went on his way from this story into another story. And, there's tons of stories for Fox to be in, like Baden's story. Maybe he went to that one, I don't know. But anyways, that is the end of this story, but not quite the end of the whole story. Brer Rabbit went to Papa God and he says, because he had been really shaken, he'd been caught really pretty good. And he went to Papa God and he says, Papa God, he says, I was just caught by Brer Fox. And that's because I don't have enough brains. So I want you to give me some more brains, just a bit more. He says, and Papa God says, Papa God says, you want more? Okay, go and stand on that rock over there, and you'll have more brains than you know what to do with. And Brer Rabbit went over to that rock, and he was about to stand on top of that rock, as Papa God said, and he thought for a moment. And then he put another rock on top of that rock. And as soon as he did, bam, 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 3 lightning bolts hit that rock and smashed it into pebbles. He says, went back to Papa God. He was upset. He says, Papa God, what do you do that for? He says, I asked for more brains. And he says, I think you've got more than enough brains for everybody, said Brer Rabbit. Do you want some more brains? And Brer Rabbit thought of that pile of pebbles. And he thought about twice and 3 times. He says, no, Papa God. I think I've got just the right amount of brains. That's the end of that story.
Thank you, Norman. That was great. Barbara C and I were just saying about like the being stuck in the kind of in the Pine Pitch Man. Like I know it's part of an Anansi story. Like, and in mine it's like a sticky straw man, and it's a fairy that's stuck in it. So I know what it is in yours, Barbara C.
In the versions I tell, one is a tar baby, but I got to change the name because the tar baby is an insult to African Americans. So I'm trying to work around, even though I like the historical context. And in the other one, it's an African Anansi tale, and it deals with a gum baby made from tree gum.
Yeah.
And,
That's what mine is, the tree gum. Yeah.
And the thing that made me look for a different alternative was I didn't like the idea of hitting a baby.
But
I describe him as a man.
My story, it's a gum baby, not a dumb baby, but a gum baby, and it makes I get you. I will modify a story, but not if it takes away from the essence and the spirit of the story. Right. So in the version I tell with Anansi and Mwatsi, the fairy that no man can see, she's lured by a gum baby holding a big bowl of yams. And so I kind of lighten the mood. That's why I say not a gum baby, not a dumb baby, but a gum baby. But anyhow, I understand what you're saying, Norman. And sometimes I have to take in, not sometimes, I always take in the cultural nuances and references for why the characters are so named.
There's a version that is Brer Rabbit and Brer Wolf, and instead of a tar baby, it's a tar doll, or it's a doll that's covered in tar. But the essence of it, it's the sticky substance, not the color. That's one way of kind of taking away the obvious kind of problematic reference. But there are so many versions.
But Baden, and we could talk about this all day, but we're not. The thing is that it's the historical and cultural reference. It's just like I don't want to, like in the Tom Sawyer or Huckleberry Finn, when he's going down the river with the black guy. I'm not going to say his name, but today you can't say his name. They wanted to change future publications to Negro Joe. But if you change it to Negro Joe, it takes away from the whole time reference and relation. But I agree. You have to be
a lot of stories are era specific, era specific. Because I learned the Uncle Remus, Joel Chandler Anders. That's what. And it was a briar patch, not a briar bush.
Right.
Oh, then I just had the thought Brer Patch.
I was thinking about that.
No, but you see, I also told this story.
Enough literary criticism.
You see what happens when you get a bunch of storytellers together to talk
We
about
just
one
can't
story?
stop like picking it apart. But you know what though? It's like Norman said at the start. It's amazing, isn't it, that those stories like have literally just gone. They've kind of gone in all different
Yes.
directions, and we all know different versions of them. I love that.
There's a version from India
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
of the five weapons. So
Wow.
and
Speaking
that
of
is
India, my story has its roots in India and in Botswana in Africa.
Wow. Then I am going to spotlight you, Bubba C, and let you tell
Let's
your
hear it.
story. Okay,
Hey,
let's
babe,
go.
Babe, you see what I did there?
It
So-
was seamless. No one noticed.
So, in celebrating my 73rd year on this earth, I am really endeavoring to tell more of the stories I usually don't tell, and to tell the new stories as you know, because stories are abundant and I love them. So, the story I'm going to tell is called The Gone Forever Tree. And I've read several versions of the story and learned several versions. One's in India, one's in Africa. They have certain common traits. The trees I'm going to mention are probably Indian, with the exception of one. And I think you guys will like the joke I'm going to set up. But anyhow, this story takes place long before Baden and Baba C were the brothers that neither one wanted. This story takes place long before Keith's beard had turned white. This story takes place so far ago, if you count up all the hairs on Norman's beard, Keith's beard, and Baba C's beard is older than that. That's an old story. Now, having said that, the story can't be that old because of the characters that's in the story, but nonetheless. When I was telling the story to some wee ones, they were asking me the names of the characters. And I paused and I said, well, he doesn't have a name. So they named the main character in this story Bob. All right? Bob is from UK. And Bob had decided he was going on vacation. And Bob had decided he was going to Africa on safari. So Bob was walking through the savannah without a gun, without a rifle, without a shield, without a jeep. He was just walking and taking in the sights. So as Bob was walking, he noticed dust coming closer and closer to him, and slightly ahead of the dust was a lion. And the lion was moving. He was moving fast. And Bob is watching this lion get closer and closer. Now, I don't know about you, but if I saw a lion coming after me, I would not be there when the lion got there. But don't run. Okay. So the lion runs up to Bob and goes, you gotta help me. You gotta save me. Save me. Save me. Oh, you gotta help me. You gotta help me. And Bob said, what seems to be the matter? Bob didn't talk that way. But anyhow, what seems to be the matter? He says, there are 3 hyenas chasing me. And they're going to eat me. You gotta hide me. Hide me, hide me, hide me. Oh, please hide me. You gotta save me. Bob said, you see that big tree behind me? Yeah. I see it. I see it. Get behind that big tree. And so the lion went behind the big tree, tried to make himself small so nobody could see him. And sure enough, off in the distance, with 3 more dust trails getting closer and closer and closer, and Bob could see they were hungry hyenas. And they ran up to Bob, who didn't have a gun, who didn't have a rifle, who didn't have a shield, who didn't even have a car to ride in, a truck to ride in. And they ran up to Bob, and they went, we're chasing a lion, and when we catch him, we're going to eat him. Have you seen the lion? So Bob looked to his left, he looked to his right, and said, no, I don't see a lion. What's a lion look like? It's like a giant cat, but has a whole bunch of hair around his head. Oh, I think I saw a lion running that way. And Bob pointed away from where he was, where the tree was, and where the very, very scared lion was. Yeah, he ran that way. Are you sure? Yeah. He ran that way. And the 3 hyenas turned around and took off that way, away from him, away from the tree, away from the lion. Whew. When they were out of sight, the lion stepped from around the trees and, I want to thank you. Thank you very much. You kept them from eating me. I really appreciate that, but now I got to eat you. I say, what now? I have to eat you. But I just saved your life. Yeah, I know, and I'm grateful for that, but I got to eat you. See, I'm too tired and I'm too hungry to run anymore. I'm too tired, I'm too hungry to go hunting. I'm just too tired, and you're right here. Yes, but I'm a human, and I'm filled of preservatives and chemicals and red dye and all kinds of stuff that's not healthy for you. Yeah, well, every now and then, you got to allow yourself some junk food. So I'm going to eat you. About that time, a hare, now in some stories a rabbit, and in other stories a bunny, and even though people use the terms interchangeably, they're not. A hare and a rabbit are different creatures, but in this story, it's going to be a hare, but not like the hair I don't have on top of my head. This is a hare like a rabbit. And the rabbit said, hey, let me get this right. The human just saved your life. Yeah, that's right. And now you're going to eat him? Yeah, because I'm too tired to go hunting, and he's here. But humans are full of preservatives and chemicals and red dye and all kinds of things you can't pronounce. Yeah, but every now and then you just got to have yourself some junk food, all things in moderation. Well, yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but if you're going to eat the human, he should bring back a gone forever tree branch. A gone forever tree branch? Yeah. He should bring back one of those. And then we can use that to smoke him and he'll taste even better. Oh, I hadn't thought about that. So human, quickly, go to the gone forever tree and bring back a branch. And so the human took off. Now, Bob had no idea what a gone forever tree looked like. Now, this is where I do a little switching up, because the story takes place in India or can take place in Botswana, but I'm going to use the Indian trees because I can say those names. So he comes back. He has no idea what the gone forever tree looks back, and he comes back with a Mofan tree. Mofan tree branch. And the hare goes, no, that's the Mofan branch. No, bring back, you got to find a gone forever tree. So the human took off again, and he came back with a Magalo tree branch. No, human, you're not listening. You got to bring back a it's gone forever tree. Find the gone forever tree. And the human came back with a Moana tree branch. Now, when I was telling the story to the little ones, I had pictures for them. And when I asked the internet to show me a picture of a Moana tree branch, this is what the internet showed me. Now, if any of you know, that's Moana from the movie Moana. Oh, human, no. If you can't find a gone forever tree, then find the never come back here tree. Okay. Oh, lion, humans aren't like you and I. They don't listen. They don't know how to follow directions. I tell you what. I'm gonna go with him and to find that gone forever tree. But you wait right here because you're tired and you're hungry, and we're gonna find that gone forever tree. Okay. But y'all hurry back now because I'm just so weak. I can't chase nobody and I'm hungry. I'm so hungry I'd eat a vegetable. All right, human, follow me. Come on. And if we can't find the gone forever tree, we're going to find the never come back here tree. And Bob said, okay. And they took off to find the gone forever tree. And that lion sat under the tree that he hid from the hyenas in. And he sat there, and he sat there, and he sat there. And some people tell me he's still sitting there because you see, the hare and the human, Bob, they were gone forever. Asante.
That was brilliant, bro. That was brilliant.
Oh, that's great, brother. Thank you. Love it.
I like that. And when researching the story, as I said, there was a story that takes place, there are versions of it in India, versions of it in Africa. In the Indian story, they're wild dogs. In the African stories, they're hyenas, but there's some crossover. So I like mixing them up and working it out. So anyhow, that's one of my newer old stories.
Thank you.
That's a
That was
great one.
awesome.
Great
Thank
one.
you.
Love it.
Love the voices, bro.
That's
Love
high praise
Bob.
coming from you, B. Yeah, and Bob, you
Bob.
know,
Yeah.
Bob.
It's such a good word, you know. The
But
number of
it's
times I
interesting
do.
because the little ones will always surprise you. So I was doing the story from some 3 to 5 years old, and they would ask me questions. And you know, because they're little ones, they don't understand you're not supposed to interrupt the storyteller. And I said, well, he doesn't have a name. Well, let's call him Bob. There's another story I do, and I'm not going to do it now, but in the story we have Ugly Mug, who's a crocodile, and he has a wife. He said, what's his wife's name? I said, they didn't give her a name. Well, if he's Ugly Mug, then his wife should be Pretty Mug. And so
sweet.
I love the feedback from the wee ones.
Yeah.
Well, I love the
it's
feedback,
great.
period. You know, so yeah. So that's the
Awesome.
Gone.
I've just got one question. One question. Speaking of the voices, the accent that you did for Bob, where's Bob from?
Bob is from, you know, I was going to patent Bob's voice after you, Baden. But then I said, let me keep Bob. He's from the UK, but I kept it nondescript. Because no matter how perfect you get the accent of a particular place, there's always someone who says, we don't sound like that.
Yeah, that's the truth. We probably have time for like a couple more short tales. Does anyone have a burning tale they wish to tell before we part for this evening? Anyone got something else they want to share?
As someone who is now in the Guinness World Records, hey, babe, I've been working that into every conversation.
Well, you in the world record as the world's oldest DC griot? Is that what it is?
And you were almost in the will, David. You were almost in the will.
Well, you know, where there's a will, there's a way.
There's a way.
Indeed.
You know,
Can I do one really silly one?
Oh yes, silly stories we definitely need.
Well, he's
Okay.
Go for it, babe.
silly.
If you've heard this one, forgive me, right? So there's this Inuit fisherman, and he's huge. The guy's built like a tank. And when he goes fishing, he can row out further than anybody, and obviously brings back more fish. But the problem with rowing that far out is you've got to time what you're doing to perfection, because otherwise on the way back you might get caught by the ice. And when that ice comes in, it's like Caribbean sunset, literally like ping, ping. 1 minute the sun's there, the next minute it's gone. And with that ice, once it comes in, it's like, oh, and you don't want to get caught out there on the ice. If you're lucky and you're not back by a certain time, by 6 o'clock, they'll send out a search party. But if that search party doesn't find you immediately, like you're so close to the land, forget it. And this guy, he can row out further than anybody, but then he times it and he gets back in time until this one day when he gets caught on the ice. And it's like, it's too far to walk. And he can't guarantee they're going to come and find him. So he thinks, okay, I know what I'm going to do. Now, he's big and strong, but he's not necessarily you know what I'm saying? He's not the sharpest tool in the box. But he thinks, I've got 2 oars. And if I smash one of them against the ice and take a couple of the splinters and start a fire. So he does, smashes the oar, and he spreads the splinters all around the boat. And he thinks, if I light a fire, I can melt the ice around the boat and then I can make my way back. And he does. Smashes the oar, spreads the splinters all the way around, gets a spark, lights the fire. But those of you who paid attention in physics will know what happens when heat meets ice. The ice turns to water. And what happens when water meets fire? it puts the fire out. He's like, ah, so close. Then he has an even better idea. He's got another ore. He can smash that ore, put the splinters inside the boat, take a couple of the splinters, get a spark, light a fire, and the heat of the boat will melt the ice and help him make his way through the ice back to safety. So that's what he does. Except, you know, right? He sets fire to the boat. Wow! That's the end of the boat. And he can't get back. And you know what that shows? Or what it proves, I should say? The truth of that old adage. The boat, the kayak, caught fire. That was the end of it. And almost the end of him. Because you can't have your kayak and heat it.
Now I don't feel bad about the quickie I'm going to tell. Talking about fishing.
Can
what
you beat that for silliness, Bubba C?
Yes. And this is going to
Okay.
be terrible. I apologize ahead of time. But there was a great fishing contest, and all the fishermen in the area had come. Now, I think the story took some place in the United States because they measured by the pound, not paid by the pound, but measured by the pound. So what I did there, baby. Anyhow, so the fishermen were going out and they were catching all these fish and they're coming back and they're trying to figure out who caught the most fish, who had the heaviest net of fish. And so one guy said, well, I can bench press 200 pounds. And so he lifted and they said, yeah, that's what you say. You say you can bench press 200 pounds. Well, I caught enough fish and it weighs about the same amount of 5 of my children. Yeah, but we still don't know how much they weigh. And there was this one guy named Juan, and Juan had a scale. And Juan said, I can figure out how much all these fish weigh. And if I do that accurately, I get all the fish. And everybody looked at Juan because they didn't think Juan knew what he was talking about. I mean, he had this great big scale, you know, but, you know, he said, yeah, well, I have this great big scale and I'm going to weigh all the fish. And so he put all the fish on the scale and he weighed all the fish. And so much so that it was clear he was the winner of the contest. And to this day, people are still talking about the Juan that got away. That's bad.
That's 2/3 of a pun. P-U.
Oh,
Oh dear.
ouch.
I don't.
Okay, I got to get going myself. I apologize.
Yeah, you got
I have
15 minutes.
Yeah, it's a
Norman.
cognitive study that I'm taking part in. And long story, I'm not able to it, but I'd like to throw in one little pun.
Give us a
Guy
pun. Give
was
us a pun
going
before you
out-
go.
Go
He was
for it.
going out with 2 girls. One was Kate. She's beautiful. And then there was Edith. She was intelligent. And he tried to court them both, but they kicked them out of their lives. And as his friend said, you can't have your Kate and Edith too.
Yeah,
And now I have to
that's
leave.
bad. That's bad. Go, Norman. Run, Norman, run.
Bye,
Bye,
Norman.
Norman.
Later, Norman.
Don't come back.
dear. Just a pun fest,
What
gentlemen.
have I
Love it.
Yeah.
started?
That's why stories start out once upon a time.
Oh,
Although some people
And now the
use
truth.
oregano.
Jazz. Make it stop. Make it
Can I make it
stop.
stop?
Help me, Jesus. Help me.
We
On a
probably have time
semi-serious
for-
note,
Oh,
note, David, it's so good to see you. I've been meaning to catch up with you. There's a lot of stuff going on with me. I'm not going to go
Yeah,
into
same
it now,
here.
but I want you to know that I love you.
You
And I
have
miss
to. It's
you,
in your job
and
description.
you and I got to figure out some way to be on the same stage at the same time. We got to
I
make
know.
that.
I know.
Absolutely.
I know. I have a short Nasruddin story that you might like.
Oh, do you know, I
yes,
was
please.
just thinking about Nasruddin stories and we
Yeah.
were telling them at the festival's out, so I would love another one. Yeah.
All
Should we
right,
make
well,
this our last story of the night? Should we go with like a Nasruddin to finish?
Yeah.
sure.
Always good. Off you go then, David.
Oh, best beloved. It turns out that Nasruddin, he was so tired of people coming to him for wisdom and advice. He went into his home and when he talked to his wife, Khadija, and he said, Khadija, I am so tired of everyone thinking I know everything. I'm just going to go out of the street and lie down and die. And Khadija went, yeah, sure, you've said that before. Yeah, go away. I'm making pita. Go. So what does he do? He goes out, goes through the gate, lies down in the road, crosses his arms, closes his eyes, and is totally still. Along come his friends and they go, Nasruddin, are you okay? And they poke him and listen to him and poke him and they said, this man's dead. Quick, go tell Khadija. So the women go running in and says, oh, Khadija, you must come. Your husband Nasruddin is lying on the road. He's dead. We don't know what to do. And she went, oh, yeah, sure. He does all these tricks all the time. No, you must come. So Khadija dusts off the flour from her hands, goes out, and there he is, lying in the road with his arms crossed, totally quiet, not moving. And she said, hey, and she snaps him on the face. Hey, wake up. Nasruddin, and she stops. She says, oh, my husband is dead. I don't know what to do. And she rips off her hijab and she dishevels her hair and she starts wailing in the morning and all this. And all of the Nasruddin's friends, the male friends, went and they got a plank and they put his body on the plank and they lifted it up and said, we must take him to the graveyard because we have to bury him within 3 days. So they start walking and she was out front. Khadija was beating her breast and throwing her hair back and the women were ululating and all this. And all of a sudden it turns out that no one knew where the cemetery was. No one had been there. These were all young men anyway. And they were arguing, oh, we go this way. And that got to the point where Nasruddin sits up and says, look, when I was alive, I went down the street and turned right.
Oh, brilliant.
Oh, David, you made me remember a real quickie. And I'm going to tell it now. Put your thinking caps on because this is a cerebral story. And you have to figure out the end. Baden, you may have heard this before from me, so don't say anything. So what do? You wake up one day or one morning, you wake up and you're in a room with no windows, no doors. The walls, the ceiling, and the floor are all made from brick. The only other thing in the room is a saw and a wooden table. How do you get out? Okay, I'm going to tell you how you get out. Now, remind you, there's no door, there's no windows. The floor, the ceilings, and the walls are all made of brick. And the only thing in the room with you is a saw and a wooden table. You take the saw, you cut the wooden table in half, then you take the two halves together, and when you put the two halves together, you get a hole.
Oh.
And you walk through it.
I have to leave now. I've got to go lie down.
Okay,
I
I'm
feel
gonna
it's
go.
that time, isn't it?
I'm gonna go and slip my wrists.
Oh, don't
No,
do
no,
that.
no.
That's a waste of a good sharp instrument.
Thank you so
Keith,
much,
thank you.
everybody.
Night all.
Keith is the only
No.
one that kept a serious face to the whole thing. Thank you, Keith.
Thank you. Oh, I should say, don't forget Friday at 6 o'clock UK time. You've got Keith Rogers doing children's stories on the World Storytelling Cafe,
Yes.
and we
Oh,
will
brilliant.
be back the first Wednesday in September for more of this stuff. So please come along again. Thank you so much for all your stories tonight. It's been absolutely awesome.
Take care,
Thank you,
everyone. Be
wonderful
good to
people.
Great to
yourself.
see you all.
Take care. It's good
Take
to see you.
care,
Bye, everybody.
guys. See
Keith,
you
Bye.
live long
soon.
and tell prosper.
Peace.
All right. Thank you,
Bye,
wonderful
guys.
people. And baby.
Bye.
This was fun. I'm glad I was able to tune in. So who's ever in the cafe flying the magic carpet, see out.